Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Good morning, Brent. Yeah, I saw you broadcasting on Twitch over the weekend. I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know what you were broadcasting because I was, or not Twitch. No, Twitch. I I saw or Discord. I can't remember. There are so many of these guys now that I don't even remember. And now I've got friends telling me that I need to join the other social medias, and I'm like, I'm having a hard enough time controlling the ones that I've got. But I did see you broadcasting. I just don't know where or when or how to get to it. These are the moments where I really do truly feel kind of old, you know? Because it's those moments where you're like, well, okay, so I look like I'm a little low today. There we go. Much better. Much better. Get these turned up a little. Yeah, I did see that it was an OBS broadcast, and I thought that was kind of cool. Because I use OBS right here for this, so we're definitely in the OBS crowd over here. I'm all about OBS. OBS connects well to Restream, and then once it does, I can broadcast out onto Facebook and Twitch and onto Periscope and YouTube, and it works very well. So anyway, we've got you on the show today, and that's actually cool. It's good to see you here. And you can tell me what happens when those bots come in. I don't even know what to do about the bots. Every day I've been getting do you want to become famous? You want to get thousands of followers? You can buy them by paying us $19.95 plus shipping and handling. I feel like that's just kind of a thing. Twitch is lagging. That's cool. Okay, well, today's show is brought to you by Annie Albers, who says, art is something that makes you breathe with a different kind of happiness. Art is something that makes you breathe with a different kind of happiness. It's kind of cool. We are at week 51 for the year. Looking at all of this, I'm like, wow. All this stuff going on. Wednesday, I will be heading off to see the dentist. So Thursday and Friday might be fun. We'll have to see. So they had this procedure that they've talked about, which he was like, it's so much better to deal with this procedure where instead of drilling through the cap of my tooth, they're going to go in through the side up here, which seems horribly terrifying. So, good morning, Donald. And so, I have been blessed, really, to say the least. The last surgery I ever had in my life where they ever sewed me up was when I was 8 years old and I had my tonsils out. So, even though this is a very minor procedure, and they were saying that it's just like a little teeny incision and a couple of stitches, and it's not going to be that big of a deal, I'm still completely terrified by it. But that's mostly because I have not ever really been under the knife, so to speak. And so it's a thing. So we'll see where I am. But they did say that my face was going to puff up. So I'll be a chipmunk for the next week, starting Wednesday. I guess starting Thursday. Thursday and Friday's show, I'll be a chipmunk. It'll be fun. I have to be careful about things like drinking with straws and stuff like that. It's going to be entertaining. Okay, let's move over to the monitor. Today we're just going to be crunching numbers here. We got ourselves this large this large picture that's got to be done for the book that we're working on. Yay, chipmunks. I have never had any surgery at all. Like I said, Donald, the only time I've ever been under the knife was when I had my tonsils out when I was 8. I've been remarkably lucky. I have never had any surgery of any sort. And so and I know that I have been remarkably lucky. A number of my friends, especially now that I'm pushing 50, a lot of my friends who are of my same age, they've all had some surgery of some sort or another. I've just been really, really lucky. That's all. And I know it. I mean, it's usually when I roll my dice, they don't always come out so well. But this is one of those moments. Alvin, the Chipmunks, and me. It'll be me. Maybe I should, distort play with the knobs over here and tell us sound like a chipmunk. Or whatever. Be funny. Be very, very funny. Do the whole show like this. That'd be great. Anyway. So here I am with a dead thing. That you'll need GIs, or yeah, that pen was just dead. It's alright, we've got another pen. Alright. Yeah. After 50, things start getting ugly. And I know it. I know it. First things first, let's clean the monitor here. There we go. Yeah, after 50 becomes the thing, right? I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to hit the... It's hard to kind of clean these buttons over here, the buttons on the side of my monitor. A little difficult to clean. Oh, yeah. I've had prostate exams. That's not a problem. That one's not an issue. But that's not surgery. It's uncomfortable. It's unpleasant. Like I said, I've just been lucky. And I'm aware. I'm aware that I'm lucky. Yep. So, okay. Here we are today. We're working on Elio 6. I'm sorry, Elio 6. I'm sorry for bumping my microphone. Problem with having a face microphone is if you barp, you bop the microphone. It's kind of funny. Okay, we're going to work here on this guy here. Take my pencil. And I'm looking to kind of square in my design a little here. Right, so we're going to bring up... This is the newer version of Clip Studio Paint. So... we've got a... I don't like this pencil. I want my darker pencil. So since we've had a little bit of a change on Clip Studio Paint, all of my instruction sets are kind of changed out a little. Oh, see, now that just sounds... I can't tell if that's fascinating or not. Like, would I want to be awake for that? I might. I might want to be awake for that. And then I'm like, maybe I don't want to be awake for that. It's like I can't tell. Part of me would be completely fascinated by this. And then part of me is like, no, you really don't want to do that. It's kind of funny. So, I don't know. So we're just going to work here with... And by the way, I've noticed that both of you guys are here and it's a Monday. I usually don't have both of you guys on Monday. It's kind of quiet on Mondays. I'm really glad you're both here. Just saying. Even though we're not working on Starship stuff today. Pretty happy with my ranks that I came up with on Friday, though. They were pretty cool. You guys were instrumental in that. I mean, I can't even say enough about. Right? That makes sense. That makes sense. You haven't slept since yesterday afternoon. Brent, what's going on, man? What's going on, bro? That's rough. Gotta figure out where her nose is on this. Do you just have insomnia? I've had insomnia. I routinely suffer from insomnia. I got up early this morning too, although not 3 a.m. and certainly not. But I mean, I got up before my alarm. Maybe there's something going on. Couldn't sleep after work. Oh, schedule's set off. I'll betcha. That's. I worked graves as well once, and I just once the sun came up, I'd get off work and then I'd come home and the sun was up, and I'd be like, well, I can't sleep. I ended up, for a while, sleeping in the evening. So I'd... Oh, hey, resin printer's working. We like the resin printer. But, yeah, I would have a problem with, like, I couldn't sleep during the day when the sun was up. And at the time... You know, I was in my 20s and I had a roommate, and my roommate worked normal day hours and stuff like that. And so we were both poor as dirt. And so we couldn't afford to get blackout curtains and things like that, which, you know, would have helped immensely. It's kind of funny because he lived here in my house when he came off duty. And, he lived here for a while, and he did put in blackout curtains. And he lived in this office. This is where, you know, this is where he stayed for a long time. And he did put blackout curtains over there. And so I've got these great blackout curtains, which are, since this is an office and not actually like, you know, a bedroom, just really means that I'm, you know, able to... I cannot see what's going on here. I'm having a real hard time with where is the face pieces for this. So I'm going to quickly just check where her face pieces are, because I am really having a problem with it. I see why. Because her nose is actually back here. This is why you use 3D programs sometimes to render it out. There we go. We've cleaned that up. Stargate's awesome. I love Stargate. Stargate's the best. I mean, they're all good. I mean, right? We've got all these great shows. And they're all amazing. So yeah, we're putting in her hair. I am on the wrong frickin' layer, aren't I? How can I tell? Oh, man. That's alright. I'm not that worried. We're going to be drawing over all of this anyway, so just merge it together into one big happy thing. We just can't deal with errors that well here. There we go. We're just putting in kind of wild hair because she's some kind of wind dancer mage. Yeah. Yeah. I admire people who can just move and get another job. I am just too specialized, I think. It's all right. It's totally okay. I have a primary job right now, and that is to be an artist and take care of the little guy. That's my primary job. And so that's what I do. He's over there right now doing his work. So that's his job. Now I gotta admit, I like 4/10s better than I like 5/8s. And I've always kind of liked the 4/10s as a work thing. And now that I work for myself, I just work, 7/10s. That's pretty much just what I do. That's the way it goes. I am the worst employer, I swear. I'm so mean to my employees. So, ooh, yeah. Those replicators were creepy. I liked them. They were cool. Okay. A lot of hair going everywhere on this painting, so I feel like we got a rough spot right there. Right? Man, if my boss ever catches me, we're in trouble. Just saying. Anyway. All right. I'm going to put her in something like this. Now, I probably will, at some point very soon here, look up some references on steampunkian Victorian era clothing. Yeah. There's something fun about farms, though. I am probably the least qualified to talk about farms. No, let's do steampunk dress. We'll get ourselves a steampunk dress. Ooh. And this one's double-breasted. I absolutely adore double-breasted things. Those are great. Because I'm, from Star Trek II era Trekkie, so, I'm going to always, and the Monster Maroons are definitely, like, the coolest uniforms ever. I will have a Monster Maroon. It's only a matter of time. Sometimes those are the best days, though. When you have worked so much that you just go home and drop into your bed and you are out. Those are the best days. Right? I love those days. We'll give her some kind of icon here on this. But for right now, we're just going to give her this. Okay. And this is then going to be double-breasted. For those of you who are not familiar with what double-breasted means, it's that buttons on either side sort of design. But definitely the front part is a different unit. But I'm just looking at some designs on the web, and I love this one design that I'm seeing here. It's got ribbing and piping along the outside like this. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, when it's busy, you just go to work and you're like, the day's over? But I just got here. And that's the best. Okay. She's got her arms up, so we want to make sure that the dress, especially if it's a single unit piece on the front, it's going to deflect, but it's going to move forward as a unit. It's not gonna move with her very much because she's got a piece of the dress underneath it, and then on top of it is this plate. So, and looks strange. Yes, that's definitely not what we're after. Although you know that was Sonia Gomez, right? We're all aware that the actress that played that in Total Recall was Sonia Gomez from Star Trek Next Generation. I'm just saying. I liked her. She was cool. Right? One of the things that I'm enjoying about this particular picture is the chaos. There is an insane amount of chaos going on here. So, and the chaos makes it so much fun. Lining these guys up so that they're on the same level each other, right? And that makes this part come back like so. And then it's bound up right here. She's really cool. I've actually seen interviews with her, and she was supposed to be a permanent member, like Geordi's love interest. And she ended up it just never went through for whatever reason. but it's kind of a bummer. Okay, so this has got pleats. I think the funniest part about this is my grandmother used to own a fabric shop. And so I grew up in a fabric shop. Totally makes sense that I understand pleats and darts and things like that, but never thought that it would be a practical usage. There would be a practical usage for me, some reason why I want to be able to know this information. But there is, and here we are. Oh, the Tok'ra lady? So, I think that we definitely have... Hang on real quick. Oh. Yeah, I don't think that the Tok'ra gal... Oh, maybe she is. I don't know. Well, maybe it is. Maybe I'm looking that up right now. I'm looking it up right now. It's harder because I'm on my phone. Because, of course, the computer is occupied. You ever notice that when you try to put things into... There we go. Well, let's see what we've got going for her. Let's check her filmography. Because I'm not seeing her yet in... See her in Earth Final Conflict and Babylon 5. But I'm not seeing her quite in Stargate. Huh, she was in Genesis 2. Who knew? So Genesis 2 had like that vehicle that they had on Damnation Alley. Yes. Now that's where I knew that she had been in B5. So that's Majel Barrett Roddenberry, who was married to Jean. And you probably knew that. I'm not telling you anything new here. But she was married to Jean. And she played number 1 in The Cage. And then she played Nurse Chapel later on. What's so funny is the ongoing story of all of those things cracks me up every time. She was sort of hanging out with Jean at the time, and by hanging out I mean probably having an affair with him. Odds are good. Gene was an awesome guy, but he had his issues, and like who doesn't, I guess. So anyway, she was hanging out with him, and so he wanted to bring her into Star Trek. So he brought her into the cage, and NBC did a power play on them and said either the woman has to go or the demon has to go, one of the two. And so he got rid of number one, the character number one, because that seemed to be the one that they were the most egregious about. The demon they could handle to some degree. They changed Spock's makeup so that he wasn't quite as scary. Calmed him down a little. And then they brought back Majel Barrett a little later on, but they changed her hair and gave her a blonde wig. That way nobody would notice. Right? Okay. Think they bought it? Probably not. Anyway, I am perpetually humored by this. It cracks me up every time. These are a lot of stories that go on in my world that I sit there and go, well, there's that, So, always a funny thing in my life. I love the behind the scenes stuff too. I mean, I really do. Okay. We're going to go in here and we're going to add some wrinkles. I mean, she's bent over here, so we're going to add a little bit of wrinkling on this because she is bent forward. The other thing that this thing has that's really cool is it's got cord on it. And so, as if there wasn't enough chaos, I get to add cords. Ooh, 3 of them, no less. And, we've got her in a short sleeve, but I actually kind of think that a long sleeve might be cool. Except that we want that to go the other direction. There we go. I'm going to go this way with it. And then we're going to come out like so. And give her some kind of cool cuffs on the end of her. Originally I had sort of some puffiness up here. And I'm going to keep that puffiness. But we're going to put in sort of this sleeve setup here. And again, keep the puffiness. She's got her arms up, so the jacket's going to puff. Yes. There. Oh, I just totally bumped my microphone. I'm so sorry, guys. Didn't mean to bump my microphone there. But yeah, well, and it's one of those things. Stargate also pilfered a lot of Star Trek's writers when Star Trek, started to go either to the end of its term on things or whatever. The writers needed a home, they needed to go get work, so they would move to Star Trek, which was totally fine. I mean, I'm actually not saying that there's anything wrong with this. But it's funny because, you mentioned that, and it's true that there is sort of a similarity between some of the things that you see that Star Trek's come up with and stuff like that. But really the truth is the best writing minds went to Star Trek. After the first series in the original series, Gene Roddenberry had a concept of bringing in hard sci-fi, not pulp sci-fi, hard sci-fi, something that was going to be really fascinating to watch, listen to, read, all of that stuff. He wanted that stuff, so that's why we've got people like Harlan Ellison in there and stuff. So a lot of the stories of Star Trek were hard sci-fi stories. They were stuff that made you stop and think and wonder about stuff and go, I hadn't thought of that. So when you have these writers, they get paid, and they're getting like gigs, and they're actually doing stuff, and all they got to do is just come up with an idea for a show, 5 or 6 times a year, and they can make their house payments, and they can feed themselves, and it's kind of fun. But then Star Trek says, well, that's it. We're only doing 7 seasons and we're out. And then they're like, oh, I don't have a paycheck now. So they migrated. Ron Moore, who is responsible for a lot of the really good Deep Space Nine episodes. Yes. I mean, if you're... so Donald, I mean, I could be totally pedantic, and I'm not going to. You're absolutely right. The Guardian of Forever is very much a reference, or is it very much a Stargate, although it's a time gate, particularly in that one. And Picard went through a gate similar to that. So Picard's always looking for stuff like that. Good old Kurlan Neskus and Professor Galen. Professor Galen gets him into so much trouble. It's a thing. I think he wouldn't be friends with Professor Galen anymore. DS9's great, but Moore definitely was amongst those trying to sort of expand your thought process, make you think more. And he's one of those writers. Love Ron Moore. Good guy. Really good guy. And an interesting fellow when you listen to him talk and stuff like that. He's a fascinating person. Okay. I am not 100% sure about how we're going to be dealing with things like this. So we're going to go to this. We're going to go to the G pen, my normal Joe Blow G pen. You can see where that is coming up as far as like a line. I want a little bit more line on it. I've got to reset everything. All right, let's go for a 10. Still looks a little weak. 17, getting better. 20. There we go. You mean Vosh? Yes, Vosh is a creative addition to Star Trek. Not a bad one at all. Yeah, that's something that always is cool in my book, is the way we got to see Ferengi. Why are you in erase mode? Right? There we go. I'm just going to put in these lines that are straight. Ooh. Boy, we had a delay there, didn't we? I felt that the way that we saw Ferengi in Deep Space Nine were extra interesting. There we go. It's an airship. Therefore, we have to give it wood planking. Because it's an airship. There's a question for the ages. What is Vosh? Indiana Jones, Han Solo, or just a plain pest? Oh, I actually don't hate Vosh at all. Vosh is pretty fascinating to me as a character. So, I'm using this pin at a 20, which means that it could be that thick if I really want it to be. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of cutting around like this and letting it be thick only in certain areas and thin in others. And this gives me expression of line. Makes the line expressive. But it also gives weight down here. Something that's kind of important, right? Right? Because if I go this way, I can come back around like that. And that gives more weight right there. And I get a little bit of a chin. She's definitely straining forward, right? So I'll give this line here for the lats. And not the lats, this muscle thingy. I have now forgotten it. I can't remember my own name half the time. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Quark was much more, if ever there was a character that was wonderfully colorful and deep, it's Quark. He had all of the traits of being a Ferengi, but that didn't mean he was necessarily going to be a bad guy, right? Right? So, I mean, Quark was ethically ambiguous. He wanted to always make a profit. But he was not willing to sacrifice people to make a profit. That wasn't his game. Which clearly other Ferengi were willing to do that, right? Kind of going along here, and what I'm going to do here is just clean up right there. So like I said, the thing I'm loving about this particular picture is chaos. There's chaos everywhere. Rom, so the whole Rom Nog Quark triumvirate is one of the most rewarding and beautiful things about Deep Space Nine. A lot of the things that were interesting about Deep Space Nine were things that, showing families. How do the families work? I absolutely love that. Right? So, I mean, we've got to think about... He did. He encouraged Rom to join Starfleet. Rom became the first Ferengi in Starfleet. That was cool. mean, ultimately, and the funny part was Quark didn't want him to do that, and it worked. It worked really well. Rom wanted him to do whatever was good for him, which, yes, House of Quark, now part of history. But I adore the family drama. I mean, I know that what's so funny is I didn't at the time. I really hated it. I hated the family drama. It was so aggravating. But I was 20-something at the time, so it makes total sense. Now I look back on it, and it's one of my favorite parts. The Dominion War was awesome. Even then, it is now. But, yeah, it's funny how I've come around to enjoying the family aspects of Star Trek so much more now. And I actually am kind of enjoying that with Discovery and maybe not Picard as much. Picard seems to have a very singular mission going for it. But certainly Discovery, where in Discovery they're really pushing the family aspect. As in, your friends are your family, not necessarily having children, but they do have a certain amount of family aspect going on. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. One of the things that was extremely positive about Star Trek DS9 was that it was a whole bunch of fathers who didn't have mothers in their lives. Yeah. You could have... yes. Right? Those things could occur. But, alright. We're just doing this here. Now, we've got to remember that lips fold forward. Right? So this is, we've got to make sure this trims back, like so. Feels kind of weird to say he whenever I'm talking about a line on a girl. I default to he on a lot of things, and it's kind of funny. I don't mean to. I just do. Probably because that's just what I grew up doing, but it's still kind of funny. There we go. I'll pull that around. I don't need that line right there. As I oft say, one line can make all the difference, right? And we've got one line, which is going the wrong way here. Right. That looks pretty dramatic. I'm liking that. I feel like her eyes aren't big enough, though. Right. Kind of want to bring this up more like so. I mean, after all, I am a manga artist, and she should have huge eyes. It's the nature of things. It's the nature of things. It is the way. This is the way. There we go. I want her eyes to look dramatic. She's concerned. The scene is dramatic. She's trying to get the ship to stop being waylaid. So she's working extra hard on this, and she's concerned. Right, so we're going to let her have the tops of her eyes. We're going to see just a little bit of the tops of her eyes, because you don't do that unless you're kind of worried, right? I'm going to move to this side here. All right. We're just gonna she's got light eyes, so I'm going to want to ultimately make it so that that's in there. Which, without coloring, makes her look creepy. That's right, we'll fix that. Because now it just makes her eyes look empty. Yeah, we'll have to wrinkle up her forehead too. At the moment, though, that's just really creeping me out. I'll have to fix this later. So we'll just do this, and then I'll fix it later, because I'm having a hard time actually like determining my proportions and stuff because of the fact that I can't get away from looking at those eyes. Okay, so now we're going to bring her forehead up a little bit more because we need more forehead. Right? Because if we're going to make her look worried, the problem we have to do is she's young, so we have to be very careful with wrinkles in the forehead, because wrinkles are a sign, a symbol that we use in comic art to indicate old. So we have to be careful with wrinkles in the forehead, because even though all of us have wrinkles in our forehead, and that's ridiculous, it is still a symbol that we are already using for that. And it's kind of interesting to think that there are symbols in comic books, but there are. We have a set of symbols that we have already established as and if eyes were a gateway to your stomach, it'd be really weird, because then you'd have to eat things with your eyes. So there is that. All right. There we go. Just moving her hair around, because like I said, I'm loving the chaos in this picture. A lot of chaos. Right? So, the Wraith. There you go, we're just gonna... I am having an awful lot of read errors on the pen, which is causing me problems. I've been trying to fix Photoshop for a few months now, and I posted to the forums, and they were doing the be sure you've done steps 1 through 4 first before you post here. And so I have been doing steps 1 through 4 and photographing it. And I am now on step 4. I'm going to be doing that after we get off the show today. The Wraith are very scary. They're cool, but they're scary. I like when we have actually legitimately terrifying enemies. I mean, no offense to the Daleks, but they are kind of silly because they move very slow. And once in the new series of Doctor Who that they actually allowed them to hover, then they became a little more terrifying. The Borg are always going to be a terrifying aspect of well, I'm not going to disagree that Stargate Universe had some flaws, because certainly Stargate Universe needed to fix a few things. This is a braid, so we're going to be putting that on here, but again, with the chaos. I love the chaos. But I'm just going to be careful with this braid so that we can make it look like an actual braid. And we've got a minute before we've got to go to break here. So I'm just going to make this braid. The braid's going up onto here. There we go. I certainly, there we go, we'll do this. We don't actually have to make it a braid, but we have to make it look like a braid so you know what's going on. Again, with the symbology inherent in this, I need, there we go, like that. She has like a muffin roll on her shoulder. The biggest thing, somebody had once said, the biggest thing that made Borg so terrifying was that they took away your humanity, your individuality, that which makes you, human. And they use you in their, whatever is their device, whatever the Queen wants you to do. And I think that that's part of, I don't know, anything that threatens freedom for us is always a problem, because especially as Americans, it's part of like our culture. It's embedded deeply in our culture, and so I think that makes it extra scary, extra terrifying. They're great. But we're gonna take a quick break real quick and just stand up. Let's just stand up and oh yeah, we'll just stand up and stretch. Oh man. Okay. We'll sit back down. My kid's in a breakout room, so I don't want to spend too much time standing up because it'll be in the way of his camera. And so we're just following this braid around. And then there's another braid right here. No, there isn't. That's a line. Nope. There is another braid there. So we have to start this braid so that we know we can make it through. I don't know why I started in the middle braid. That seems kind of weird. There you go. Bring that braid around. We're just making the braid here. It's like making the grade, except different. Making the braid. I can't think of the name of this at the moment. You guys probably are familiar with the cords that are worn on uniforms, dress uniforms. Yeah, the Goa'uld, they definitely are somewhat terrifying. Although, you've got to be careful with your bad guys. Hugh definitely undermined a lot of the scariness of the Borg, and so did Teal'c, right? So Teal'c takes away sort of the scariness of your Goa'uld because he's friendly and you like him, and after a while... You mean this guy? It's still one of my prized possessions. I'd call it Bob. Still need to make all the pieces for it. Maybe that's what I should do, is in 3D build the little claws that come out front here. There's two of them. There's a set that's in here and the set right here. And then they need little eyes. He needs little eyes. I guess he's a she because obviously he's like... Right? Good luck. I think if anybody could resist a SETI eel, it's a 10-year-old. I was actually just having a discussion with my 10-year-old earlier today about listening to me. A remarkably frustrating discussion. Alright, so what we're doing here, the dress that I'm modeling this off of, no, don't turn, it's kind of hard to see, but the dress has cords on the shoulder, which is what I'm working on now. Yeah, the idea of Teal'c and Worf fighting side by side is kind of fun. And the subject of a number of fan fiction concepts over the years. One of you two is going to tell me what these things are, and I'll remember it. Ronan Dax? I don't remember Ronan Dax. Are you talking about it in Stargate? I haven't seen all of Stargate, so... I mean, I've seen, like... So I used to watch Stargate all the time when it was on broadcast, and so I have enough of the episodes to know the story arcs, but SG-1, there are a number of episodes that I would just miss, and I'd be like, okay. And somebody would talk about, you know, remember when that one guy was on the show, and I'd be like, I don't remember it. Like, it took me years to find the episode that Armin Shimmerman was in, Quark. Quark was actually in one of the episodes of Stargate at one point in time, and it took forever. The Trekkies were talking about it for years before I saw that episode. And it's because it was early on. just putting in the braid. The braid takes a lot of effort and time. Speaking of which, I better save before we lose this. And that's just the nature of the beast, is that it takes a long time to do braids. But they look so good when they're done. And especially since I'm going to have it flying around as part of like the generic chaos of this particular picture. Okay, so describing this cord kind of going up like that. I love it because it looks like it just things are just everything's flying. That's important, right? And this is a high neck collar outfit, so it's coming in from behind like this and then ending up right here on her bow. And so, but it's got a very, it doesn't have a mandarin collar, but it certainly has a thick collar. There we go. That. And the truth is, this entire structure of the bow starts right here. Comes around like that. Right? I agree. There are, all these streaming services, it's very aggravating when there isn't access to a show. We just realized that they took Firefly off of Netflix somewhere along the line, probably years ago, for all we know. But now I want to show my kid Firefly, and we're having a problem, because of course we don't know what streaming service to even look for Firefly. We have the discs downstairs, and so we certainly could just find the discs, but whole point of the streaming services is to be convenient, and suddenly we were like, wow, this is somewhat inconvenient. There we go. Just adding the chaos to her bow, right? She's got this beautiful little bow going on the front here. I'm just adding a whole bunch of celebrity deathmatch for sci-fi and fantasy. Not gonna lie, that celebrity deathmatch was funny as all get out. Gross, but funny, and I loved it. My wife, not so much. It was a little too gross for her. It was very funny. Not funny that she thought it was too gross, but no, that was kind of funny. I admit. That was kind of funny. I kind of think it's fun to Tribbles versus a Mogwai, or Tribbles versus a Mogwai. Oh my. Alright, so now we've got a button there, and we've got a button that's here. There we go. And by the way, guys, I think I need to assist the aforementioned wife who she forgot her laptop here. So she's going to tell me whether she needs her laptop or not, which will be fine. But if she does, then I'm going to have to cut out here at 11:45 so that I can get to her and get back here before my kid has to be in school for afternoon. So just so you're aware and you are on it, then we're good. So what we're doing here is we're introducing some confusion to the fabrics here, like stress and pull, and we're just gonna, I don't know, I gotta admit, Jim's sounds cool, doesn't it? There we go. So she's bent forward a lot here. She's got a lot of forward bend. So this front plate, I really want to be bent. And unlike on here where we've got that, I like adding sort of design to this. I feel like she should have some semblance of design going for her here. Right? There we go, much better. Although I just made a mess of this line. Hey, why are we practicing doing the warm-ups every morning? That's why right here. This is why. It's the more we can do a straight line without having to go back and clean it up, not only does it look better, always looks better, but it also makes it so that I don't have to this round here. I don't have to clean up. Right? Gyms really don't. And that's a very good, solid point. And you may be wondering, why am I kind of not staying with the blue line on this? I feel like this is still moving forward a little bit more than I want it to be, and the underline that I did under here just didn't quite grab it right. I feel like, really honestly, this comes out more like so, and then comes back like that. Maybe even down here more. I'm just looking at the design around her chest, right? Coming around here and then just coming through there like that is a much cleaner look. We don't have to go back there. That's not where we're headed. There we go. Excellent. And we'll go through here. And we may make these gems. That may be a fun thing to do. But right now they're buttons for the moment, just so I can get this line work in. I feel like the answer is that my wife has gotten home of her own accord. And she will grab her own laptop. Which is what I think is happening right now. Which is okay. And there's a lot of noise going on over here. So that's where we are. And so that's good. That means I don't have to worry about getting my wife's laptop to her. It's true. It's true. I'm going to put this forward. Like I said, the thing I'm liking most about this particular piece is the chaos. I like the chaos. I've got braids going everywhere. Her bow has to be going everywhere. Her hair is going everywhere. She's some kind of wind dancer, and she's doing wind things. So it's great. It works well. But we've got a lot of chaos going on up here. Maybe her eyes are too close together. We'll go back and fix that. We can fix that later. So, but right now we've gotten through this front piece, and we don't have to worry as much about that. I do like, so my dark blue lines were here for this dress, and my red lines are back here. And I think I'm going to follow the red lines, because it's more dramatic and more chaotic. And even though it doesn't quite fit the dress, right, it's still cool. And I would prefer that. So I'm going to do that. There is a front panel on the dress where it's open, but it actually comes from right here and opens up like this. And I come over and like this. And this then becomes this fold, right? And then I feel like that fold might be just a little too close. I won't be able to get anything else out of it. So I go back here and do this. And this fold's going to come from right there. Right? Oh, I love hematite. Hematite's one of my favorites. My mom was one of those crystal people who likes crystals. And I'm not knocking people who like crystals or anything like that, but as a teenager, I knocked a lot. As we all do. Luckily, my mom was very patient with me and just kind of accepted that I was, a kid, and that's what kids do. And so she would go to crystal stores all the time. And one of the things that she would often get, and I loved this, is she'd get hematite for me. And I loved hematite. Honestly, I think she thought that it meant that I was, trying to do whatever she was trying to do or whatever. And the truth is, I just liked the look of it. Right, so okay. So we're just giving a little bit of whoof to our dress. And it's being great and stuff like that. I might have to move him because he's like standing here and now all the dress is like right in front of his face. We'll get there. There we go. Under here, then she has an underdress, which is definitely under here with ruffles, and there is a lot of just getting some of that. I really want this effect of just lots of dress flapping everywhere. Tiger's eye is good too. Hematite, tiger's eye, agate. Agate's pretty. Agate's very pretty. Jade, of course, is always going to be lovely. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're just raising up that point here. Alright, we're just giving a lot of light. See you tomorrow, Donald. It was good to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Okay. We're gonna... Out here is going to be the jacket's shoulders. The shoulders have a certain amount of ease that they put into them so that you can actually raise your arms. It makes logical sense. Or put your arms actually down. They've got a lot of ease going on that. When you have a stiff thing like a coat and you lift your arms, all of that just kind of puffs up. It just becomes one big unit coming up like that. Like that. There we go. Right. All right. So give her kind of cool cuffs to this, which kind of point out like that. Then we have to put the cuffs on the front side, which means cutting some of our ribbon here, our cord. We're cutting the cord, man. We're cutting the cord. There we go. Bring this around. Bolt that in.
Bye.
And then put this like this, and there we go. And we'll put that around. Yeah, I mean, we got to make sure she can move those arms. No, we go. Bring that around. Being very gentle around her hands. Hands are fragile things. I want to make sure that we've got that looking very fragile there. There we go. Now, she has a certain amount of rictus going for her hands here. Whoa, way over the line there. A certain amount of rictus going on, and rictus is where your hands crink up. And so I want to make sure that I'm giving some stress to her muscle groups. Right, because it stresses up the hands. The strength in the hands can be seen by pulling all of those back. And so we want that because she's, that kind of thing. She's doing that push. And so we really want that to look like she's doing it. And while I'm at it, I might as well screen capture this so that I don't have to. Oh, the back's kind of cool. This is another one of those, though. The dress definitely has a certain amount of. I like the blue one. I just like things in blue, and especially with the red cord. Yes, he said bye, but he didn't say hello. That actually was my child talking to my wife, who stopped by to grab her laptop and didn't have to, and she said goodbye downstairs. So that was what you were hearing, was my child who was saying goodbye to my wife while she went back to work. Now that she has retrieved her laptop. Okay. The next thing I want to really work on here is her eyes, because her eyes are not, in fact, balanced. And I'm not going to be able to do anything else until I deal with that. And it doesn't take a lot, right? Her eyes are now very balanced. It's fine. That's all I needed to happen. And then I'm going to extend out just a little bit on the front of her brow there. Right, we're going to come back down just a little on her brow. But again, it's all about one line, right? The power of one line. Getting a lot of misreads on my pen. It's very aggravating. Something is chewing up a lot of computer cycles. But it's definitely giving me some misread issues. Much better. And now she actually looks like she's all like straightened out there and everything's good. I actually feel like her head's a little small. I don't know why I'm feeling that, but I am. So while we're still able to, I'm going to grab as much of this as I can and make a slight resize. It is not uncommon for us to adjust and resize pictures from time to time. And even with using a 3D model, it's never perfect because there is the nature of art is that it's not quite realistic. So now when I take this guy and bring him up to 100%, this is where we are so far, and it looks much better. Oh, I am feeling one. We'll have to put that other hand in to see whether we're actually good with the head. It's the angle. The angle's rough. Intentionally. I mean, I really wanted to challenge myself. So, this is where we are. Same thing over here. Be gentle with hands. There we go. Now when I do this arm, I'm going to look to see there are a couple of probably folds right here, and then it's going to go up just like the other side onto the shoulder, right, and across her back. And so we want kind of this bump. We want this is indicating that that coat is deflecting up and moving around like that. I'm going to do the same thing underneath here. Bring that around. The jacket's going to pull right here. It's going to pull right across. So there's going to be some stretch to that jacket. It's going to pull up and around. And it's not going to pull up like that, actually, because it's going to have to continue going. So let's pull that back, because we've got to go all the way forward to here. Right. All right, there we go. Now looking at it this way, the question really is, how does she look? And I feel like we've got a pretty good control going on here. I feel like we're doing okay. Yeah, that's correct. The fabric's going to bend, and especially since, if we think about it, this jacket is a jacket. It's not going to be flexible. It's going to be, like most jackets, it's going to be very solid. And you can reorganize your desk all you want, my friend. That's fine. Now, what I am feeling a little weird about, now, looking at this, is this side right here. Because I feel like I want to assist with this. The movement. Oh, really? Once again, I have done that. So we will go ahead and we'll assist with this movement. That's what I was going for, like this. Because her hips are moving forward right here, right? So we really want to, help that. When this goes backwards, back down the other side, there we go, just like that. That's what we want. We want that to move forward, right? We want that to push forward. The other thing I'm looking at now, whenever I look at this whole picture, I feel like I want this to push a little bit more. Not a lot, because obviously we don't have a lot of room left in the illustration. But I feel like we can stretch that just a little bit, right? And push it just a little bit further and push it right to the edge. Right there. And that, much more dynamic, gives me something else to work with over here. Not that worried. And all I have to do is just fix a couple of small dots and go back and kind of fix things like that. And on the underside here, just like that. There we go. It does look kind of real in its own way, giving it a little bit of life. There we go. That's what we're looking for now. I feel like now I'm looking at her and I'm like, that looks like she's fighting the waves. They're causing her issues, causing the wind. The wind is going all over the place. Her hair is going everywhere. That cord on her shoulder's going everywhere. She's doing something. Something's happening, man. Something's happening. Alright, so I'll go down here and I'll clean up some of this stuff down here too, because that's a mess down here. Make my lines clean. Gotta make those lines clean. Yeah, like she's really fighting the storm. Still feel kind of like this is not quite as dramatic as it should be. And you know what? I could do this way too. Problem is, yep, battery died. That's exactly what occurred. That's alright. I had a feeling I didn't plug it in over the weekend. And so we're going to have to turn this guy up so that he's up and running. So there we go. Now I should be like where we are. But I'll go on ahead and plug him in now. And we'll let him go on ahead and recharge. It does. It happens. Batteries are known to die. I didn't remember it until this morning at about an hour before the show that I hadn't charged it from Friday's show. And so I had... That's alright. I kind of don't like wearing that thing if I can avoid it. It's not as cool. So it'll be charged for tomorrow. It'll be good. I think we only have about 4 minutes left before my kid is out of school, so he can go on ahead and head downstairs. And the major reason that I wear the headset is so that I don't disrupt his class. And that's really what I'm trying to avoid. As is typical, he has a bunch of online classes, and he's doing those. And here we go. So, I had wondered how long it was going to take before that battery would die. Kind of had thought about that. I was like, I gave it some time to charge, but then I was like, I don't think it's going to make it. That's all right. We're just putting the petticoat in here, under the underdress, so to speak. There we go. Just like that. Just like that. That's what we want. We'll have to go that way. And she's got a dress underneath here. There's 2 layers to this. The top is like a dress coat, and the bottom is an actual skirt dress underneath it. It'll be back in January. We have a couple of things we've pre-recorded and things like that, so that should be earlier than that. We'll see what happens on that one, but they're pre-recorded, so anything could occur. But yeah, the show itself should be back in January. Yet you can see her bloomers. So we'll go ahead and do this. Speaking of bloomers, I have that go like that. And these are probably different shades of very dark gray. So it's probably not going to be as detailed as I've got in the drawing here. But that's okay. It looks pretty dramatic. And it looks awesome. So we're getting good. We're getting good results here. Good results. I'm going to take this down a smidge. There we go. That way it pops up, and you can see that front piece is a completely different, disassociated piece of her outfit, which is good. You can do that. That'll work. I think I'm going to hold at this point because we've got some more work that we've got to do. But I feel like we need to go back and check the composition of this before we continue on. So, I don't know if Nancy's watching or not. She may be. She may not be. But Nancy, if you're watching, we're moving along with one of the illustrations in your book. And we're getting quite far on this. Pretty pleased with it. So that should be good. We're going to head back here to the main camera for just a little bit, and then I'm going to call it because I'm actually kind of hungry and looking forward to lunch. So I'm going to head off to lunch, and I'm hoping you're going to head off to lunch as well. And we will continue working on this tomorrow. because it's not going to be done today. But it'll be done probably Wednesday, would be my guess. I'm hoping. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to go on ahead and get going. I hope you all are having a great, great day. It looks like it's a nice day outside. You go take a nap. That's what you should do, right? I think that's a great idea. And while you're taking a nap, remember to keep your eyes on the stars, which sounds weirder when you're talking about taking a nap. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.